What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Sarah from Sarah Styles here. October is over. I've gone through and done my analytics. My sales, total items that have been sold is down, but my revenue is up. So stay tuned for this video to see what I'm doing. I'll also include all of my analytics and financials for the month, including my top brands that sold, categories that are selling fastest, categories that are selling at high prices, all of my month-end analytics, as well as I will show you actual items that sold on Poshmark and eBay. So stay tuned. Welcome to my channel. If you are new here, make sure to hit the subscribe and notifications so you get notified of my newest content. I am a reseller and I have a background in data analytics. So my channel focuses on reselling and then also supported by data analytics, how I look at data to help meet my goals, and then I extend that out to you and show you strategies and how to use your data to hit your goals. And then just basic strategies for reselling. I resell on eBay and Poshmark, and also a little bit on Etsy. I have an analytical dashboard for the Poshmark sales report that's on Etsy. I'll leave the link down below and a discount code at the end of this video. A lot of the analytics that you're going to see today is from the Poshmark sales report. It's specific to Poshmark. I will also go over a little bit of my financials today. I'm adding that to this video because people have been asking, and I could talk about data all day long. But I don't want to get too boring. I don't want to start sounding like the Charlie Brown teacher, and you watch my video and it's like, wah, 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 right? I want it to be interesting to you. So I'm going to start off with a little bit of my financials. Leave notes down below if it's interesting, if it's informative, if you want to see more of it. I can definitely share more. I will note that I do not share concrete numbers. I tend to share percentages because I think it's important to learn how to use the data and not compare to me, but compare to yourself. So if you follow me, you notice that my hair is new. I usually have a mohawk. It is getting really long and I'm getting a haircut in like 2 weeks, and I'm kind of on the fence if I want to go back to the mohawk or keep it a little bit longer. So leave a note down below and tell me what you think. Should I do the mohawk again, or should I keep it a little bit longer? It's going to be a meaty video. Sit down, have a cup of coffee or a glass of wine, depending on when you're watching this. I am having my coffee right now to get me going. So let's get started. My financials. I will be putting, I'll do split screens with these charts. First, I want to start with, let me see, let me pull these things up. So my overall, let's look at this. I think this chart, let me pull it up. This chart is so interesting, and I'm a data person, so I find it really interesting. But you can see, so the chart with the bars on it, and the green graph, that's my total items bought versus my total items sold. And you can see, so the total items sold is the green line. You can kind of see there's a downward, it's not extreme, but there is a downward slope. You can definitely tell that the items that I'm buying is less. Part of that is time. Most of that is time. I have actually started, and you can probably tell when I started, yep, in April, I started doing the dashboard. And that takes time. And then over the summer, I have 3 children that I stayed home with, so I wasn't shopping as much. I was also doing the dashboard. And then I've also started, around that time, I started YouTube and I started Instagram. So my time for shopping in Poshmark and eBay has gone down, and you can see that in the items that I've bought. And I have this graph because I wanted to see if there was any kind of correlation between I'm buying less items and I'm selling less items. That being said, I've heard that there is a correlation between listing and sales. because I've heard this and I've noticed it here and there, I relist I'm talking about Poshmark. On Poshmark, I relist a lot. So even though I'm selling less items, I am still listing between 3 to 12 items a day. A lot of those are relisted, as you can tell, because I'm not buying as much. But this graph, you can't tell so much if I'm buying less items that my total items sold have gone down. You can see, so look at the green line, it's not huge, but there is a downward trend in my sales. And a couple months of this, not a big issue, outside factors, things happen, summer, seasonality, all of that. But after a couple of months of the downward trend, I started rethinking strategies. But so you can see I'm selling less items, but then if you look at kind of the chart that's filled in, that's my sales revenue. And it's going up like a lot. That's not a trend that's not a hard trend to see. That's for sure going up. And who doesn't want more money? Yes, please. So I'm selling less items, but I'm making more money. And let me tell you why that is. I have been really focusing, let me pull up this chart. I have really been focusing on increasing my average sale price. And this month, so what you're looking at here is the pink is this month, October, this month being October, is October compared to my year-to-date average. So all of the months of the year before that, the average of that compared to my average sale price for this month. And I've increased my average sale price this month compared to the entire year's average by 32%. So I'm selling less items, but I'm selling higher price items. When I am out sourcing, and you can see this in the data that I share later, I look at my sales data and I look at what sells high for me. I look at brands that sell high. I look at categories that are selling high and well for me. And that's what I'm looking at and focusing on when I'm sourcing. So I am working smarter and not harder. And you can tell in my sales revenue, it's working. I am by no means saying that this is the only strategy. I'm not saying that this strategy works for everybody. I live in Colorado. I've been told it's like the mecca of thrifting. And so I'm able to find a lot of these high price items. And I've also been thrifting my entire life. I've been reselling and upcycling for like 20 years. And so I have a little bit knowledge in how to find these higher price items and what to look for. If you're starting out or you don't have the availability to higher price items, this strategy isn't going to work for you. But that's why looking at your data is so important, because then you can figure out strategies that are going to work for you. So average sale price is up. The other thing that I want to note is, I'm going to pull this graph up, my percent of sales revenue. So these graphs that we're looking at are from my financial dashboard, not the Poshmark sales report. We'll get to that in a minute. So my percent of sales revenue. Another thing that I've done to increase my revenue, and I talk about this on my Instagram a lot, is diversifying. I was only on Poshmark. I was noticing a downward trend, and that's when I started cross-posting to eBay. As time allows, I will start cross-posting to other platforms, but I do this part-time. And when I say part-time, I probably work more than part-time hours. But it's very flexible. I can do it with the children at home and in school, drop-offs and all of that. So I'm on 2 platforms, and you can see, so Poshmark is the teal color, 66% of my sales are coming from Poshmark. However, I am getting 15% sales from eBay and then 19% sales from Etsy. So adding those other platforms has helped to increase my sales. I do want to know on eBay, I only have right around 500 items listed on Posh, and on eBay, I'm straddling right around 200. So I don't have all of my inventory listed over to eBay, and I want to note that when I'm listing on eBay, I started with my high price items. So what's listed on eBay, for the most part, is $50 and higher items. So my revenue from eBay is going to be a larger percentage because they're higher price items, if that makes sense. Etsy, for the time being, I'm slowly starting to put vintage items on there, but for the time being, Etsy is the dashboard I don't think I've sold any clothes on there. There's that. I want to show this one. This is really interesting. I hope that you guys can see what's going on. But I talk a lot about there's two main variables that will move your revenue from your reselling business. And that is your average sale price and how many items that you sell. So there's lots of different strategies. I have a lot of videos on the different strategies, how to look at it and use your data. But there's lots of different strategies that you can try. But what you want to try and move to increase your revenue is selling more items or selling higher price items, or a mix of both, right? So this graph is showing you the purple is my average sale price, the pink is average inventory cost, and then the green is your margin. So I really look at this chart as a month is going, because I can quickly look and see, is my average sale price increasing? Is that purple number increasing? At some point I'm going to flatline. I feel like I can't continue to find super high price items and continue to find higher and higher price items, but it's continuing to increase. And then the inventory costs, I tend to have less control over the inventory costs. I like to try and keep it as flat as I can, if not slightly decreasing. And you can see it kind of from May until October, it's kind of, done a little bit of this. We're talking little numbers here. Inventory costs, when your average inventory cost is like $3 and you bump it up to $4, that looks like a big bump in the chart. But this is mostly flat, a little bit of an increase. I've been shopping more retail lately because I have more control over the inventory that I'm getting. So I was messing around a little bit with that. And I've done a video on bins versus retail below, and my retail finds tend to sell at a higher average price. And so in this graph, you can tell I don't mind paying a little bit more of an inventory cost because it's increasing my average sale price. And also, time is money. I don't have bins. You have to be able to have the time to search, and I don't always have the time to do that. I can pop into a retail store in 10 minutes and come out with $500 worth of stuff to sell because I hit their purses and I hit their shoes and I'm done. That's not always the case for the bins. So this will look different for your strategies and what worked for you, but I want to show you what I look at. And the biggest thing that I look at is that teal line, the margin. That's the percent difference between these two. Essentially, the money that I'm making. Is that increasing? And it is. There is a steady increase in that. So those are my financials. I do want to, I'm going to pull this in real quick. I don't have pretty graphs for it, but I am starting to track my eBay fees. eBay, there's a high learning curve on eBay, and I'm trying to figure it out. They send you an invoice with your fees, and there's so many fees and this and promotions and that and all of that. And I wanted to kind of gauge an idea of how much my seller fees are and how it compares to Poshmark, and then to help me price things. So it says that they're 10%, but then you add on promotions, and then you add on valuation fees and PayPal. And I'm still trying to learn all the fees that there are. So on average, eBay for me right now is, my eBay fees are about 17%. And then I wanted to look at shipping too, because shipping's different on eBay. Sometimes it comes out of my fees, or sometimes I don't price it, and I have to price differently for shipping on eBay because it doesn't automatically come out of the buyer. So I want to kind of try strategies there and see what works. So on average, my eBay shipping fees are about 10% of my sale price. And then I do want to quickly note, I've been talking about sales revenue. That is the revenue that I'm bringing in from sales. It is not necessarily how much money I'm taking home. This is where I am not an expert, so I'm just going to quickly touch on this, but talk to a CPA about it. You have your sales revenue, and then you take out deductions, your expenses, your mileage, all of the deductions. And like I said, I'm not a CPA, so talk to a CPA about what you can deduct. And then you have what I call your take home. That's the amount of money that goes into your bank account that you made for the month. My sales revenue, My total expenses were down, which means that I'm bringing more money home. It also means that I have more money that's taxable. So there's that. But my expenses were down because I'm not buying as much, I don't want to say startup costs, but startup things like I was at the beginning of the year. I was really, getting a lot of inventory. So I was having to get storage for it, and we redid the basement, so I was having to buy furniture for the basement, a lot of stuff like that. So because my expenses were down, my revenue was up, it made my take home, I took home 131% more than my year-to-date average, which yes please. So I hope that was quick. There's quick financials. I am gonna pop this chart up real quick because I think it's important to look at external factors. I'm going to start looking at Poshmark, and there's strategies that you can take. You can share more. You can try bundle strategies. You can try, and even on eBay, you can try all these strategies. But to a certain extent, there's external economic factors that are going to affect your business. And that's why I like to quickly look at census data. I don't get too intense into it. I'm not going to get too intense for you guys. But this chart is looking at the retail and food services for September. There's a month lag because it takes them time to put the data together. And there is an e-commerce one, but it only comes out every quarter. And I shared it last month. It is down. And then I'll share it again when the newest quarter comes out. But for September, it's down. And it was also down in August. So that's something to keep in mind, that people are spending less in retail. This is percent difference. So they're spending less in retail and a percent difference. It doesn't mean stop doing your business. It just means keep that in mind and maybe find different strategies that will encourage people to want to have retail or to spend money in retail. And I think for me, what I am going to try now, I've worked really hard on increasing my average sale price, but I think I'm probably going to go more to a little bit of both, having a high average sale price, but then also having some lower priced items to encourage buying for, people aren't spending as much. So maybe I can get more people to buy lesser items and then also have my high price items. That's kind of the strategy that I'm working towards right now. So stay tuned to see how that works for me. Let's look at the Poshmark sales report. So let me I have my notes. It's a lot of content. I told you it's beefy. I want to make sure that you guys get it all. Yeah, that covered it. Okay, so let's look at the Poshmark sales report. This is interesting. Your total orders by day. I like to look at this because I am very consistent with sharing. I'm very consistent with listing. Like I said, I list every day. It'll depend if it's between 3 to 15 or to 12 items a day, depending on what's going on. A lot of the time that is relisting. As you saw in my purchased items, I don't buy enough new inventory to list 3 to 15 items a day. So this graph, for Poshmark, you have to share, you have to be social, I'm very consistent in that this graph is just kind of interesting to see the trends. I'm noticing more seasonality in trends. So like in the summer, the days were more consistently aligned because I don't think people were only on the app on the weekend because they had the week off, or they were taking vacations, and their schedules weren't the same as they are in the quarter, in the fall and the winter. So you can see a little bit more variability here. Saturday and Sunday, in general, they say e-commerce is busier on Saturday and Sunday. You can notice that here in my sales. I will actually note I am less consistent on the weekends than I am during the week. On the weekends, I usually source on Saturdays, which doesn't leave me a lot of time to be on my phone social. And then Sundays, I am taking off. And essentially that means I am not doing as much. I still am consistent, but I'll probably list closer to 3 items, or sometimes I'll do drafts to where I have drafts ready to do Sundays, but I'm not necessarily getting on there and following people and engaging and sharing. And I mean, I do like the bare minimum, if that makes sense, on Saturdays. So that's interesting. Let's look at, let me pull up the data I want to look at. Let's look at strategies. So these are the strategies that I use. Well, these are the strategies that Poshmark gives you. I'm going to tell you the strategies that I am currently using and how it shows in my data. Offer to likes. I did a video, we did a deep dive in the analytics group. So if you have the Poshmark sales report, you have access to the users Facebook group. And it's an awesome group because everyone has this dashboard. So we can share, hey, what does this look like to you? And what are your top brands or one of my top brands? And I'm having an issue with this. Can you help me? You know, it's a users group. So everyone in there has the dashboard and is using it in Poshmark, in their Poshmark goals. But then also we do deep dives. And one of the deep dives that we did was on offer to likes. And we tested what happens if you send out offer to likes 10 to 15 minutes after every like opposed to once a day. And what we found was that if you sent it out once a day, it increased your average sale price, with the thinking being people who wanted things are more likely to send you an offer, and oftentimes it's higher than the offer you would have sent them. So your average sale price increased. Between the two strategies, sales didn't have any correlation. There wasn't a higher sales one way or the other, but average sale price increased. So I have only been sending out offer to likes once a day, which means that my offer to likes is 10%. It's low. That's low. It's lower than when I was sending them out, but my other offers is higher. And what's really interesting is if you look at the average sale price per item down below, my offer to liker average sale price is high. And then my other offer is. I'm going to note my offer to like sale price is high now that I'm thinking about it. I sold, and let me show it to you now. I sold a Patagonia jacket through an offer, and it was amazing, but it sold really high. I think it sold, $157. So that really increased my offer to like sale price. That's one that I bought at a store at retail, and I paid up for it. I don't usually share prices. I'm going to tell you. I paid $40 for this jacket, which a lot of resellers are going to be like, oh my God, $40. And actually, it was really hard for me to spend $40 on it. But I know Patagonia, it's a newer style because of the zipper, and I knew it would sell. And it sold in under a month, I think in 2 weeks, for $157. So there's that one. Let's go back to the chart. Buy it now. Who doesn't love buy it now? My buy it now is at 20%. Percent of bundles. So I have a bundle strategy. I'll leave it down below. I offer a free item if they bundle. I use the free item as incentive to purchase. They don't always bundle. They don't always add multiple items. Sometimes it just encourages them to buy the one item they were kind of thinking about anyway. But what happens is, and in my financial workbook, these bundle inventory, I track as a marketing expense. I'm giving it away. It doesn't count for my inventory. And so it is increasing my average sale price because it's encouraging people to buy, and they're buying things because they're getting a free item. They're not asking for the item discounted, if that makes sense. Or if they are, it's not as much. And a lot of times what happens is I will tell them that, hey, I have this bundle free item, and they go to my closet to look for the bundled item, and then they find a lot of other items that they like. It encourages them to go back to my closet. I have a sign in all of my listings that say that, but when I have a lot of free time, every person that likes an item, I create a bundle and I tell them, hey, I have this free item if you would like to purchase, or add it to your bundle if you'd like it. And what happens a lot of times is I had a bundle and it happened at the end of the month. And so Poshmark sales report works, it doesn't clear in the Poshmark sales report until the money can be deposited. So it was purchased at the end of the month, but it wasn't, it's not in the Poshmark sales report because it hadn't been delivered and accepted by the end of October. But it was like a 20 item bundle. Excuse me, it was a 20 item bundle, and the ironic thing is she liked a purse of mine, and so I created a bundle and I said, hey, I have this free item if you want to add it to the purse, whatever. So she goes to my closet to look for it, and then she adds 20 items to the bundle and doesn't even buy the purse. So I got a 20 item bundle off of someone who didn't even buy what they originally looked at my closet for. So unfortunately, that doesn't hit my bundles for the month. So my bundles do look a little bit lower this month because that happened at the end of the month. But hey, it'll just make my bundles next month really high. So shipping discounts, I never offer. I hate shipping discounts. You'll see that number matches my offer to likes, because when you send an offer to like, you have to offer a shipping discount. That is the only time I offer a shipping discount. I have personally done some data on if I offer a shipping discount or free shipping, does it encourage sales? And I saw no correlation. I would rather offer it off of the item than off of shipping. Just my personal thing. Let's look at, top brands. I'm going to share with you what I call my BOLO brands. And these are, I sell a lot of them at high prices. And they're going to be Vintage, Coach, Patagonia, Columbia, and J. Crew. That being said, and stay tuned to see the actual items that I sell. I don't pick up everything by this brand. I'm specific in what I pick up. So like Coach, that's purses. Maybe I have a couple of pairs of their shoes, but Coach is their purses. I don't find good luck selling Coach at a high price or fast any of their other items than purses. Patagonia is mainly jackets. I see a lot of Patagonia in my area. A lot of their stuff doesn't sell for the high average sale price that I want. So I'm picky in the Patagonia that I sell, but Patagonia sells, period. It will sell. I also have a hard time because I keep a lot of it for myself. Reseller problems, am I right? Drop a note below if you do the same, and what brands do you like to keep for yourself? That being said, I just did a haul on my IGTV. A cousin of mine from the East Coast came out and she brought me some items. And it's so funny because she brought me a lot of stuff that I don't find here often, because the brands that are popular in the East Coast, I don't really see here. And one of them was Lilly Pulitzer. And this reminded me that I was asking some of my PFFs how to list Lilly Pulitzer, because I'm like, I don't know. I think I found it once. And they were telling me that they keep a lot of it for themselves too. So reseller problems. They like keeping Lilly Pulitzer. I like keeping Patagonia, the North Face, Columbia, and Lululemon. So I find it a lot, and I also keep it a lot. Those are my highest. And then I want to know my BOLO brands. These aren't necessarily brands that I bought. Let me find it. These aren't necessarily brands that I sold a lot of or that I see often, but when I see them, they're brands I'm going to pick up because they sell at a really high price. So my BOLO brands for the month were Patagonia, St. John, Bilbo. I think that's how you say it. They were a pair of cowboy boots. And I'll show you these items at the very end. UGG, Timberland, some of these probably are not news to you. LaFleur, which that was a new brand for me. It was a dress. I've had it on hand for a while, but it was long sleeve. So as soon as it started to get cold, it sold. Columbia, I am only picking up boots and jackets to sell at a high average sale price. Dooney & Bourke, that's purses. Coach is purses, and Escape is dresses. And I will show you some of these when we're done. Inventory. Told you this was beefy, right? We're almost done. And you can see all of the items I sold, because that's the fun part. Well, I like the data. I think it's really interesting. But it's also fun to see what actually sold. So, what sells high and what sells a lot of. This is the inventory charts that I look at, my high average sale prices. And you can see my high average sale prices for total sold and for average sale price is dresses, jackets, bags, and shoes. And that stays pretty consistent for me. I sell a lot of them, and they sell at a high selling price. Jackets are in there now that it's seasonal. Jackets in general sell higher, but I pick up brands that will sell. You know, I'm trying to increase that average sale price, so I'm picking up brands that'll sell high. Days on hand. What I want to note here, I try to stick with under 3 months. This will be skewed a little bit because I do relist a lot. So it will show in the Poshmark sales report that it was listed under 3 months, even if I had it on hand for a while. So that's something to keep in mind if you relist a lot as well. But as far as this chart goes, everything, my average was under 3 months, with most of it being under 2 months, which is pretty incredible. I mean, that's pretty awesome. Things that I'm buying are selling in 2 months. And some of those maxes are higher, and I looked into some of them, and it's mainly seasonality. So like the jackets, one of the maxes is 90 days, which is still only 3 months, but that was probably a jacket that I bought like in the summer, so it didn't sell, right? Although I had some luck with selling jackets in the summer. So weird. Do you wait to, let me know. Drop a comment down below. Do you list seasonally appropriate things and buy seasonally appropriate things, or do you just buy whatever, whenever, list it whenever? I have found that I buy whenever and list it whenever. My theory being it cannot sell if it's not listed. Point blank. If I save jackets to list until December, it could have sold in June. I don't know if it would have, but it's definitely not going to if it's not even listed. That's not even an option. And then I will buy things in retail. In the bins, you buy whatever, right? In retail, depending on where you shop, a lot of the retail stores around me have inventory out seasonally. So like I can't buy jackets during this summer, but at the end of the season, they usually have really good sales that I will pick up a bunch of jackets at the beginning of summer. So that will kind of move my average days on hand. Now let's look at actual items. Let's start with eBay. Like I noted before, most of what I have on eBay is $50 and higher. So my average sale price on there is higher just because that's all that people can buy. What I noticed, and I don't have a Poshmark sales report, so I don't have any fun graph to show you, but I went through and looked quickly what was selling on eBay, and most of what is selling for me on eBay right now is vintage and purses. Part of that is because I buy a lot of vintage and purses. So I have a lot more vintage and purses inventory, especially in that higher price range. But I wanted to note that vintage and purses is what's selling mostly for me on eBay. So let's start. And this Amanda Cross, amazing. Follow her on Poshmark and on Instagram. I purchased some of her inventory from her when she moved, and she let me use all her photos. She takes all of her own photos and does like these fun backgrounds and stuff. This was a vintage Ralph Lauren pantsuit, sold for $105. I purchased it from her, so I went through for her inventory and purchased things where my average sale price was going to be what I wanted it in the simulator. So if you have the dashboard, there is a simulator in there, and it looks at all your historical data, and you say, I want to make this amount of money for the next month. And it'll tell you, based off of how many items you sell, you need to sell at this price, or based off of what your average sale price typically is, you need to increase to sell this many items. If that makes sense. Watch some of my other videos. It kind of talks more about the analytical dashboard. But when I was going through deciding what to buy from her inventory, that's what I did. I took the cost to me, how much I was paying for it, the comp, and I took the inventory. I took the fee out of, assuming I was selling on Poshmark at the time. I took the comp for it, took the fee off of that, subtracted out how much I was paying for it, and that was my profit. Is that hit my average sale price that my goal was, and it did for this. And so that's sold. I want to know, in that whole little spiel that I did on how I decide what to pick up, that is how I decide when to pay up for items, because I don't necessarily, it freaks me out to pay $40 for a Patagonia jacket, but I looked at how much I would make off of it. Did it hit my average sale price? And it did. And if I'm going to pay up for something, obviously it matters how much money you have in your bank account. If you don't have $40 in there to spend on inventory, then obviously that's probably not the best purchase. But if you have the money in there, I also like to look at how long I think it's going to take to sell if I'm going to pay up for an item, because that's kind of money that's being held up that I couldn't be spending. I mean, $40 goes a long way at the bins, right? So that's $40 that I wouldn't be spending somewhere else. So I like to, when I pay up for an item, I like to make sure that I'm going to make that average sale price on it. But then also, I think it has a high likelihood of selling fairly quickly. This dress was amazing. Oh my God. I was kind of sad to see it go. I don't know why, because it didn't fit me and I have absolutely nowhere to wear it to, but it's a vintage Vera Wang mermaid DV. Amazing. So gorgeous. Michael Kors, vintage Michael Kors. I was actually fairly surprised it sold so quickly. I didn't know. I have a lot of vintage Coach, and I don't know. I was just surprised that it sold quickly. Vintage Michael Kors. It's not one of the cuter Michael Kors purses, at least to me. But maybe it's more of like a classic. You can wear it all the time and it'll last you a while. This beautiful. If you have not seen these, go look at them. It's Anushka, I think. It's hand painted leather purses, and they are gorgeous. It caught my eye. They had just, when I went to the store, it caught my eye and they had just putting it out. And very rarely do I buy something at a store if it's not on sale, but it was gorgeous. And I don't think they knew what brand it was, so it wasn't priced very high. And I bought it. I mean, like, they hadn't even like hung it up, and I was like, I'll take that. And it hit my average sale price. These Jeffrey Campbell women's platform heels, they are amazing. Tell me they're not amazing. So I found these at a retail store, and it's over now. Maybe some of your stores have Halloween section like on sale this weekend. Go. I found some way cool things in the Halloween section. These shoes were one of them. I found these like poodle, I've mentioned them in my other videos, but they were poodle Adidas special edition shoes, and they sold in eBay in 2 days for over $100. And I found them in the Halloween section. And a lot of retail places save their vintage and put it in the Halloween section. And it doesn't necessarily sell. It's priced really, at least in my area, it's priced very reasonable. And it doesn't always sell, so it goes on sale a lot and stuff. So check out the Halloween section either this weekend if your stores still have it, or next year. Keep that in mind. This Anthropologie, it was a cashmere. This was something that was also from Amanda Cross. I sold it a bit lower. I'm trying to remember. I sold it a bit lower than the comps, and part of that was I'm new on eBay and I just need to get sales going. Right? So it was still, I didn't lose money and I made a decent amount, but it wasn't necessarily, I think I probably could have gotten a little bit more had I countered or waited, but I took it because I need feedback, I need sales, I need people to see that I'm a trusted buyer. So that's why I took that one. And then this one, oh, okay, so now we're on to Posh. Those are some of the ones I sold on there. Like I said, mostly purses and vintage. Okay. This is a beautiful suede Coach purse. It sold for $85. This I bought at retail. Most of my purses I buy at retail. It's hard for me to find purses at the bins. Although I went this last week and I found a Marc Jacobs. I'm still have to do research to see if it's fake or real. I'm leaning towards real. It looks really nice. But in general, I don't find a lot of purses where at retail, they have them all picked apart and all beautifully set out that I can go to the purses, look at purses for 20 minutes and walk out with a bunch of purses. So this was retail. It hit my average sale price. This was a garage sale find. It is a vintage Ralph Lauren skirt, and I'm having a fairly, like, as you notice, I had a Ralph Lauren vintage on eBay that sold, and I'm having fairly good luck with Ralph Lauren vintage. Excuse me. It didn't sell extremely high, but it sold fairly quick, and it was at a garage sale, and I think I paid like next to nothing for it. So vintage again. I found this in the Halloween section. I was sad to see this go. I'm going to be 100% honest. I loved modeling it. And so sometimes when I model things, there's like clips in the back, or like if you don't, like it doesn't zip. I don't only buy items in my size. This one fit me like a glove. It was so cute. I have absolutely nowhere to wear it to. So I told myself if it didn't sell the next time that I needed somewhere to wear it to, I would wear it. So when it sold, I was actually kind of sad because I loved it, but yay for money. This Calvin Klein, the only Calvin Klein I tend to pick up is really, really, really nice jackets and their career type wear dresses. So that's a dress. These Doc Martens. If you see Doc Martens, they are on fire right now. Do not pass go. Pick them up, throw them in your cart, go straight to the checkout. Doc Martens are on fire. I have purchased 2 pairs in the past couple months. They have both sold in under 2 days. And they have sold at reasonable prices. These ones actually were a high inventory cost. And when I did the math to see what my average sale price would be, it was lower than I would have liked, but I knew that they would sell quick. And they did. They sold in 1 day. Within an hour of listing them, I had 2 offers already. And I went back and forth with them. And then I accepted this offer the next morning. So Uggs, y'all know Uggs are where it's at. These Uggs were again in the Halloween section. Yay for skeletons. I paid up a little bit more than I probably would have felt comfortable with had it not been October. I knew that they would sell because of October. Had it been a different month, I probably would have waited for them. I didn't wait for them to go on sale, but I knew that they would sell. And these sold in 2 days of listing, and they actually sold higher than I was expecting. So, yay, that's always good. Matisse, this is a pretty nice brand. I've sold boots before. It's boot season, which is good for shoes because your average sale price will increase typically with boots. The average sale price was a little bit lower than I wanted for these when I looked up comps, but they were in really good condition, and most of the Matisse that I've sold has sold pretty quickly, so I picked them up. And also something I consider is how easy is it going to be to photograph and list. And shoes, especially these, it takes me like no time. It does take me time. It takes me significantly less time to list a pair of shoes like these than some of my other items. So that factored into whether I was going to purchase it as well. These J. Crew boots were gorgeous. Amazing. Oh my God, the leather was gorgeous. And what's kind of funny about these is I took pictures. I had them ready to list. I put them away in my inventory, and then I was pulling another item, and I looked at them, and I said, oh, that's so weird. I wonder why these haven't sold yet. So I went to go look at my Poshmark, and I was like, why haven't these sold? Well, I forgot to list them. So back to my point, things can't sell if they're not listed. So I listed them, and then they sold. Imagine how that works. They were gorgeous. But that's, again, J. Crew. So what do I pick up J. Crew a lot of? Their dresses I pick up, their jackets, blazers, like their career wear, tends to sell at higher prices. I like to career wear because I find that career women will tend to pay a little bit more and not be, they're being frugal, but like a J. Crew blazer for $40 is still, like, to buy a J. Crew blazer new is like $200. And so I find that they'll pay up a little bit more. And I used to work in an office, and I also secretly love cute career wear because it's hard to find. So I'll pick it up. Jackets, this is a Columbia. This is one of their newer styles. I will pick up kind of the newer, puffier, like this kind of style, and then vintage Columbia. These are a pair of shoes. Enzo Agnoli, I think. It's Italian, I think, so I'm not saying it nearly as pretty as it probably should be said. I was really sad that these took as long to sell as they did. They sold at kind of around where I thought, so that's always good. But these took a while to sell. They're so cute. I don't know. Timberland. I like Timberland. Timberland has sold at a high average sale price for me. Their standard boots, if it's just the regular standard like workman's boot, those sell at a lower price. But if you can get really cute Timberlands, they sell fairly. For me, they've been selling fast and high. These ones are so cute. I also had a pair of my own Timberland boots, and they were snow boots, and they were like, I mean, they were not in good shape. I mean, honestly, they were not. And I disclosed it all. And they still sold for like $40, I think. And the lady was like, oh, I love them. Maybe she's really good at cleaning them up, or maybe she didn't care because they were snow boots and they were going to get dirty anyway. I don't know. This escape dress, I like selling formal dresses. Sometimes they will sit a little bit longer because it has to be like, it's not something you wear every day, right? But I am finding that a lot of people don't, I mean, an escape dress is $300, and most people who wear something, a formal gown, wear it once. So you don't want to spend $300 to wear it once. So sometimes it does sit a little bit longer, but I do have good luck with formal gowns. And then also, I love them. Right? So sometimes I go to sections just because I love them. I love formal gowns. They're so pretty. I have absolutely nowhere to wear them to. So I'm kind of like living vicariously through my buyers. And this did not do justice on the mannequin. I cannot fit this one, but like, I just imagine it in person. Like, look at the back, the badunkadunk, like that is like the perfect booty shot right there. Oh, gorgeous. New with tags Coach. Yes, please. I will take that. And it was actually on sale. I randomly found it at a retail store. It hit my average sale price, and it was new with tags. Had it not hit my average sale price, I probably still would have bought it because it was new with tags, and any of my new with tags Coach sells, any of my new with tags purses sell fast. Pleasers. I found these at the retail store in the Halloween section. I have sold 2 pairs of pleasers, and they're like these cute, like look at the little zippers on the back. The other ones I sold had like corsets on the back. And they sell, both of them sold in under a month, if not a couple weeks, I think. And they sell around $40. So I will be buying those when I see them. I have a hard time listing them because I don't know what appropriate words to use. They look like exotic dancing shoes to me. But I don't know if like someone who is buying them and is not an exotic dancer is going to be offended, or can I say stripper? Like, is that still okay to say? So I kind of have a hard time listing keywords, SEOs in them, but they've both sold. Vintage, this was really cute. I actually had a couple offers on this. I was hoping to get a little bit higher. But I've said this in the past, when I get a couple offers and they're all right around the same price range, that's the value. So even if I look at comps and they're higher, but the market value is what people are offering me. And sometimes you get a low ball and you're like, okay, no way, I'm not going to take that. But after numerous offers around the same price range, I kind of gauge that to be the market value. So here's Coach, and this is a pair of shoes. These were relisted. They were in really good shape. I expected them to be sitting for a while because they were a small size. They were size 5.5. And so when you're buying shoes, make sure to look at the sizes. Lower sizes or like really high sizes aren't, standard sizes. And so they will sit a little bit longer. I did not mind it though because my average sale price on this was really high. And I knew when I bought it that it would likely sit for a while. Vintage, I love 80s vintage dresses. I don't know why. Maybe I just wish that I went to an 80s prom. But I was like 6 in the 80s. And I love buying 80s dresses. I think I have another one that sold too. They sell at a reasonable price for me, a good average sale price, and fairly quickly. Over the knee boots. I'm going to be 100% completely honest. These are an accidental purchase. So when I go shopping, and tell me how you do it. Do you do this too? When I go shopping, I just put everything in my cart. I'm like, that could be good. That could be good. I want to look that up. I just put it all in my cart. And then at the end, I go like into a little corner and I'm sitting there and I look up comps and I probably spend a third of my time shopping doing that. And so these were in I didn't know the brand, but they were in my cart and I looked them up and I meant to put them back and I didn't. So they didn't hit my average sale price. I knew they would sell because any of the over-the-knee boots that I have right now have sold. They just didn't hit my average sale price, so I didn't make as much as I wanted on these, but they sold. They sold pretty quickly too, and they were fun to model, right? I always have a hard time with the over-the-knee boots because it's hard to get them to stand up straight, so I modeled these ones. Sorel, I've mentioned in the past, Sorel is a good sell for me. These are like their typical boots that they have, and they sell. People don't want to spend $200 on a pair of snow boots, especially people who don't use them all the time. So I get a lot of like people in the South that are like, I'm going on vacation for a week. I don't want to spend $200 on a new pair of Sorel boots. So their regular ones sell. If you find Sorel boots that aren't like this caribou style, they'll sell high. Last month, I haven't found any this month. Sad days, huh? Last month I found quite a few pairs, and they were selling over $100. So Dooney & Bourke, this was another vintage Dooney & Bourke. Oh no, the other one is a vintage Michael Kors. This is a vintage Dooney & Bourke. I'm also surprised it sold so fast and is high. Huh. I'll take it though. Yes, please. There it is. There it is. I loved this dress. And this one actually fit me. So had I had an 80s prom to go to, I would have pulled this from inventory. But I did not have an 80s prom to go to. It was amazing. Can you see the back? We had like this deep V and like the huge bow. Like, whoever thought that was like a flattering style, right? Who wants a big, ginormous bow on their butt? People in the 80s did, and I totally would have rocked it. It's amazing. Coach vintage briefcase. So this one, I had another one of these and it sold $100, but it was in like pristine condition. This one was not. It was pretty tore up. Sometimes I will go in and kind of polish it up. I have yet to try the Doc Martens Wonder Cream leather stuff. Drop a note below if you've used it. Everyone raves about it, and I don't know why I haven't bought it yet. I just need to go do it. And maybe it would have done some wonders, but sometimes I don't like spending time cleaning things up either because time is money. And do I want to spend a half an hour on this? Am I going to make enough money in that half an hour to clean it up? Or do I just disclose it and sell as is? This Maeve dress, it's an older label, I think, and it took a while to sell, but I bought it I think I bought it in the spring, so it's long sleeves. So I imagine that it would take a while to sell. These are the Billabong shoes. So when I talked earlier about diversifying and extending my reach, some of that was cross-posting, but also some of that is extending what you're buying and selling and learning new labels, learning new brands, learning new categories and such. And so for me, new markets, for me, that is men's. I only sell women's. I am slowly starting to branch out towards men's. And what I've mentioned in my Instagram and then on some of my YouTube videos as well, I have an 80-20 rule. So things that I know that sell, I pick up 80%. And then with that extra 20%, I'll kind of dabble in something new and then see how it does. So right now I'm kind of dabbling in menswear. And these were men's boots, cowboy boots. I live in an area that has a lot of Hispanic culture to it and a lot of like cowboys. I see a lot of cowboy boots, especially at certain thrift stores that I frequent, and I know absolutely nothing about them. But I looked at these and I was like, those look cool. They look like they're nice and they look like unique. So I'm going to buy them. And then I was at the register and the lady was like, my dad has these. They're super nice. She told me they were ostrich. I looked them up and I think they were actually stingray. But she also only knew the word in Spanish, and so she told me the Spanish word, and then maybe I got it mixed up. I don't know. Anyway, they were stingray or some kind of sea thing. They sold in 1 hour for $100. Like, so I've been kind of messing around with some cowboy boots, and then I'm picking up menswear here and there to see how I do. This is J. Crew blazer, $40. This was the St. John that I sold. It's St. John. If you're a reseller, you know. I am finding that St. John does sell high, but it can sit. I think it's a very unique audience, and I almost feel like it's resellers know St. John, and so it's kind of getting oversaturated. But I'll wait for a $100 sale. So that is it. I told you it was beefy. I hope that it is helpful and informative. Follow me on Instagram so that you can, I do a lot of tips and tricks. I'm doing IGTV videos over there. I can't do all the time on YouTube and on Instagram, and Instagram is much easier to do from my phone. So it's easier for me to do on the go with the children. So definitely make sure to follow me on Instagram. If you have not subscribed to my channel here on YouTube, make sure to subscribe and hit the little bell so you get the notifications, so that I do this monthly what sold, and then as time allows, I pop on with other videos as well. Leave a comment down below on my hair so I know, if you like the pixie or if you like the mohawk. I haven't decided yet. Have a good day.